Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you. The Morning Majority, 6:30.
WMAL. 6:07 on WMAL. Still to come on the show this morning. We've got Trevor Maddich about a half hour from now. Get his thoughts on where the Redskins will actually finish when the season is over, as we're about a week away from the start of the NFL season.
Right.
The CEO of Gibson Guitars will be here at 7:36. We talked a lot about them recently because the federal government has gone after them hard. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife.
Boy, those people are on a tear. They sure are.
So we'll talk to him at 7:36 this morning. Peter Morici joins us now, University of Maryland Economist, good friend of the program. You were on vacation in Italy. How was your vacay?
Well, I found Europe the way it's supposed to be. They're all very relaxed over there. We went to Venice, Florence, and Rome for a country that's falling apart. They hardly knew about it.
So they just don't care? Or
well, they figure that, it's money. I mean, at the end of the day, the basic problem is Italy can't print money and the Germans won't print it for them. So sooner or later, the ECB, the European Central Bank, has to print the money the banks need, or Italy will just spin out of the Eurozone. That's all. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the old story, if you owe the bank $1 million, the bank's got a problem. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's where they got Germany. The Germans aren't so bloody smart. The euro is undervalued for Germany by virtue of what's going on in the Mediterranean, so they look really, really competitive and smart. Get real. Do you think they're that much brighter than we are, working 32 hours a week in an export juggernaut? They're that way because they have an undervalued currency. If Italy, Greece, and the others spin off, the emperor will have no clothes. Germany will be revealed.
By the way, you brought up the 32-hour work week. We were wondering, how do they get away with that in Europe?
And where can I find me a job like that?
Don't they take
an undervalued currency? You can get away with it, and that's exactly what Germany has, because the euro is pulled down in value by virtue of having Greece, Italy, Spain, Portugal, and so forth. It's a scam. And that's what's bankrupting. They keep talking about, well, we're going to loan them money and they'll work off their debts. The only way Greece and Italy and the others can work off their debts is if they export more than they import, so they have euros to pay off the German banks, which means that Germany would all of a sudden have to have a trade deficit. Do you see the Germans putting up with that anytime soon? I don't. No, Europe is a dysfunctional situation as long as they have a euro. It's a pretense of unity that just doesn't exist.
All right, is that bad or good for the United States?
It's probably bad for the United States because this contrast with Germany keeps the New York Times focused on the notion of somehow or other if we had German labor relations, we would be competitive and have enough jobs. Because heaven help us if we ever did anything about China, because Barack Obama doesn't want to do anything about China, so it must be the right thing to do, because whatever Barack wants to do is correct.
Peter, we're getting some indications from what the president's going to say when he gives his speech next week, and one of the things that he's going to suggest is that we do some more infrastructure investment, which is another way of saying we're going to go with another round of stimulus. But, I mean, the argument can be made pretty clearly that the last round of stimulus didn't really work, did it?
No, stimulus works if you just need to sort of jumpstart the economy because it's fundamentally sound. It's like jumpstarting a battery. But the economy isn't fundamentally sound. The dysfunctions in the banks continue. The chairman of the Bank of New York was fired this week. He was being paid $18 million to run the company into the ground. Meanwhile, the banks still are doing very bogus things. The Bank of New York is under scrutiny now for essentially selling pension funds, bogus exchange trades, exchange rate trades, and so forth. The economy didn't get fixed. Barack Obama spent a great deal of money investing in solar energy companies that are now going bankrupt, and things like that, and building more roads. It put people to work temporarily, but it won't get the economy going until he's willing to fix the banks, fix China, produce more energy, and really do something about health care. This economy's not getting going again. That takes a president with brass, and the one thing we have learned about Barack Obama is he is a man without courage. Even his own supporters say that.
Peter,
he's a very weak man.
What is the story with the green
Mr. Insecurity.
Don't hold back, Peter.
I hear you, Peter.
Just tell us what you really think.
What is the story with the green companies going bankrupt? I ask because of this. It seems to me that a lot of the companies that do well right now are ones that have to do with home improvement. People aren't able to get out of their homes, so they want to make upgrades. Seems like solar panels might be one of those things that would work theoretically in the free market, but these subsidized companies are going under left and right. What is the deal? Where's the competition come from? Why are they losing?
Well, there's two basic problems. One is the cost of solar panels is still too high relative to conventional energy. The best choice America has is to drill. You can't get around that. That's what the numbers say. And the second thing is the Chinese are getting into this business big time. They're subsidizing their companies, and they have an undervalued currency. You know, it's very hard to make things in America when the margins in manufacturing are very thin. They're not a high-profit operation like WMAL or the University of Maryland. Margins in automobiles and any kind of manufacturing are very, very thin in this global environment. And so if you've got a foreign country that's leaping on heavy subsidies, you can't compete with them. Basically, what American companies did was take a subsidy from Washington, which ran, for about a year. The money's run out, so now they're shutting down. It's kind of like academics getting grants. They say they're going to solve the problems of the world. They get their money. They write up some sort of paper, hand it into the National Science Foundation. It's a lousy paper, but nobody cares. Unfortunately for Mr. Barack Obama, newspapers are now writing up these bad investments. This guy does stuff on the basis of feelings. He hangs out in food co-ops. Come on. I mean,
Mr. Hyde Park.
Like watching a bunch of mothers at a daycare center plan a field trip. It doesn't have to make a profit. America does.
What do you expect for the...
By the way, I am holding back. I can't use language. Bill Hess tells me I can't use language like that on the air.
You know what? Here's the deal, Peter. We don't listen to Bill Hess, so you know what?
Go on ahead. No, we have a delay.
No.
You're
No. Let her rip. Come on, Peter.
All right.
See what you really think.
Do we want to Mark Halperin this segment or what? Come on.
Yeah, that's right.
Calm down. I'm a professor. I have to maintain the dignity of my position.
Yes, you do. From hearing you this morning, you obviously don't have a lot of faith in the president's big speech that he's going to give next Thursday. And what are you expecting from the jobs report to come out today?
Well, we got a preview of the speech when he tried to schedule it the same day as the Republican debate. He views this as a political event. Everything over there is political. Everything is about getting reelected. That began a month before he took office. Accomplishing anything doesn't matter. So basically, he's going to come up with a set of proposals that look like what he's done in the past. Job training. Training for what? The problem is there are no jobs. Training people for no jobs? Come on, get real. He'll always roll out, businessmen who say they'd like to get a computer programmer who'll work for $10 an hour without benefits, only the hours he needs them. And they say, we haven't got enough workers. There are plenty of people that can do the work, but, they don't want to pay them. But we're going to get, tax benefits for hiring people, which don't work. And we're going to get an infrastructure program, which, is a palliative. And we know the government has a lot of trouble spending the money, getting it out in the first place. So it's going to be very much more of what you've seen before. So the Republicans will vote it down, and then he'll try to pin the economy on them. See, the president all along, every day he gets up, he does two things. He tries to triangulate by making reference to high-income earners, saying what we need to do to turn around the economy is raise taxes on the rich. And he blames someone for a problem that he has. He's always talking about the things that are beyond his control, whether it's earthquakes, sunspots on the moon, what have you. And so now what he's going to try to do is invent one more obstacle to blame so that he can say, well, I couldn't do any better. And over again, when I get interviewed by the media, they always say, well, is there anything that really could be done?